Hey, good morning, team. So once again, welcome to day two of AZ700 program. My name is Robin, and I'll be delivering this session. So I request you to confirm the audio through the chat options. So Krishna is saying like I'm unable to hear. So request everyone to just confirm audio and the presentations if we are able to see. So just confirm to the chat option. Yes. So thank you, Rick. We can hear you and presentations. Thank you for the confirmation. Yeah. So yesterday we had a discussion, or it's been around the Azure networking part. So yesterday we had a discussion on about this training program. Uh, what is the need of this AZ700 program, and to whom Microsoft is looking for to clear this exam. So basically, we understood this program is been typically focusing for the resource or the team who has been working on the Microsoft cloud network infrastructure. So we had a detailed discussion on AZ700. We discussed about the course material part, module part. Then we entered into this the topics being to be covered, or the topics you need to go through for clearing this exam. And during the time, given some tips also for clearing this one, how this exam pattern is being organized. So that details yesterday we had. Then second part of the sessions, we had more about this understanding how your on-premises and how Azure network infrastructure is being different. Because in your on-premises also you have network components and network infrastructure is in place, like router or a switch or RJ45 cable, or you're connecting computers or a workstation using a cables or a Wi-Fi. So yesterday we had a discussion how this has been different in the Microsoft Azure side, how router is been connecting, or what is the protocol to be used, or what are the capabilities you're trying to get on the Azure side. So we had a detailed discussion on the capabilities part. Then we understood like Microsoft is giving a couple of features or capabilities on the Azure network side. So we started with the two case studies, like in a reality or in a practically how this has been going to uh, it's been coming on to the reality. So we had a discussion, or we considered 2 point for that. Then we had a discussion on the capabilities part. So like we understood like what is the need of a networking, and we understood like oh it's been getting a especially 7 capabilities. It's been provided by the Azure network. One is the isolation part. Then we had understood like it's been internet is by default it's been provided, and it can able to communicate with the on-premises also. And we understood like route and filtering and connecting to virtual network also it's been possible. We'll be going in detail way. It's be like connecting or creating a virtual network. All the points we'll be covering, and we'll be doing a demo also. So this is the points. Yesterday we had a discussion. Now we understood like it's been supporting up to 50 virtual network per subscription per region, and we have seen it's been like it's in case if you're trying to create any virtual network, we need to have subscription is mandatory. We need to ensure that the virtual network is been aligned or it's been mapped to a region. So that's a mandatory things, and obviously you need to have a resource group also. So these are the three information is mandatory, or these three information you need to give along with the at the time of the creation. Now yesterday we understood it's been similar like your on-premises one. So if I need to assign, or if I need to create a virtual network, you need to have a virtual network interface card to be in place. So by default, similar like your on-premises one, you will have a virtual network will be created, and so then you'll have a network interface card also be available for this. Now regions, like when you're discussing about the Azure network. So, one second. So we understood a couple of capabilities on Azure side. Now, whenever you're going for designing part, right now you are going and creating a virtual network on the Microsoft side. There is a couple of points you need to remember. So, like when you're going for creating Azure virtual network, there is some point you need to remember in your. Let me share you a couple of important points so that you can able to. Know.
อันแรกของคุณเป็น106ไงผมก็แก้เป็น106
I request everyone to mute yourself since it's a broadcast sessions. So let me share the report.
เดี๋ยวแก้อีกทีนะ
So couple of points you can note down. It's been like the first point. It's like a number of the virtual network. It's been supported as per the uh, latest Microsoft document. It's been like you can able to it can support up to 1,000 is the maximum virtual network. It's been supported for region, and the maximum subnet you can create in each VNet. Subnet is been supported is 3,000. So you can able to have 3,000 subnet can be created. You can have 3,000 subnet is being supported. And in case if you have created multiple VNet, and in case if you're thinking like you need to peer network VNet peering to be done between a multiple VNets, VNet peering it's been supported. VNet peering you can have up to 500. 500 is the maximum VNet peering can be done in a region. So 500 is the VNet peering it's been supported. And in case if you're going for creating any kind of a VPN gateway, VPN gateway per region it's been one it's been supported. Uh, no, sorry, not region. Per network it's been supported one. And VPN express route per virtual network also it's been supported one. So these two numbers you need to remember it's in a virtual network. And you can assign a DNS per virtual network. In case if you want to create a DNS per virtual network you want to create, you can go up to 20 DNS server. Details can be assigned to each virtual network. And private IP address you can assign to each virtual network. Private IP address you can have up to 65,536 is the number. It's been supported. So maximum you can have 65,536 is the number. And per network interface card, for example, like you are configuring a VNIC and you are configuring a VNIC, and per VNIC you will be able to assign up to 256 IP address. For example, like for a VM, you created a VNIC and you want to assign multiple private IP address to that. Yes, up to 256 IP address can be assigned. And same applicable for public IP address also. Now, if you want to assign a multiple public IP address to one network interface, up to 256 IP address can be assigned. Maximum network interface card VNIC is supported. It's been 65,536 is the uh, maximum interface it's been supported. Now security group, there is some term has been coming to picture that's called network security group. That's called the firewall. It's kind of an internal firewall. So the internal firewall it's been supported up to 5,000. So 5,000 NSG can be created. So maximum NSG can be created on the Microsoft side. It's been 5,000 is the NSG. It's been supported on the Microsoft side. So you can have up to 5,000 is the NSG has been supported. In case you are creating NSG and it's been creating a virtual network level, so you can have up to 500 500 sorry 5,000 NSG can be created. Now in case if you're going for any kind of a routing protocol, especially yesterday I was discussing a term called UDR. It's called user defined route. In case if you are creating any user defined route tables inside a network, you can have up to 200 is the maximum UDR can be 200 is the table right now it's been Microsoft Azure it will support it. So and number of the route right now you are able to create 200 UDR or routing table. Now each routing table you can go have up to 400 routes can be configured. So like a UDR can be 200 and user defined routes per table it can be go up to 400. So this is a couple of information. I hope this information will be useful like when you are planning or if you are designing your virtual network. So the point you need to remember, number of VNet it's been supported 1000, subnet is been 3000, and the number of the private IP address or a DNS can be configured on the Microsoft side. So this is about the configuration part. Now, when I said when you're configuring IP address, we understood like you have a private IP address also it's been placed and you have a public IP address also you're making. Now by default, or when we had a discussion yesterday, so we understood IETF is the organization, it's been defined or it's been developed IP addresses. So IETF is the organization. It's been generally it's been you maybe heard in college days. It's called RFC 19198. This is the range it's been or this is the standard generally we are using. So we understood yesterday there is a couple of address which you are not able to route in internet. So yesterday we had a IP address range. It's been yesterday we are given. So it's told yesterday I was saying like any IP address which is starting from 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255. Typically, /8 is the prefix generally using, 10 or a /8 is the prefix generally or the subnet generally we are using. And 172 is the next set of IP address generally 172.116.0.0.02 172.31.255.255 generally /20 is the subnet prefix generally we are using. And you have 192 series also 192.168.0.02 192.168.255. You can write it's been /16 is the prefix generally using. And these are three IP address is a non-routable IP address in internet, and this is generally known as private IP address. Now, in addition to that, these are the three IP address or these are three range of IP address which you will not be able to use in the internet. For example, like I have a VM. This IP address you can assign to the VNIC for an internal communication. So like you have a multiple VM which you are connected inside your cloud. For this you can able to use it. So like internal communication, but you have a situation you want to connect to internet and if you're thinking like one of these IP address I can assign as a public IP address, that is not possible. By default this is, it can be considered only for the internal transfer or the internal communication. Now these are three set of ranges. These are three set of ranges it's generally we are not using. Additional to that, there is a set of IP addresses we cannot use also. There is one more set is been available. You may be heard already about this. That's called 224.0.0.0/24. This is a multicast IP address. So this IP address you will not be able to use in internet and you will not be able to assign also. And you have something called 255.255.255/255. This is a broadcast IP. So this also you will not be able to use. And you maybe heard about one more IP address called loopback IP address 127.0.0.8. So this is a loopback IP. So you will not be able to use loopback IP address, and you will not be able to use APIPA address also. That's called automatic private IP address, or some books it may be written as a link local. So any IP address which is starting with 169.254.x.x, it's called a link local, or you can able to see APIPA. So in case your client machine is not able to connect with a DHCP server, you may be observed there is one address is by default the system is being generated. So they're generally known as a APIPA address, or this is known as a link local. So you can be able to see link local also. So you'll be any. So you will not be able to use these three ranges plus these two, then your loopback and your class B. And there is one more address is been by default assigned for an internal DNS. So you will not be able to use that also. By default, all the assured DNS internal DNS servers are assigned with 169 dot I remember it's been 63.129.16 slash 32. This is a internal DNS. So you will not be able to assign this IP address also to your VM. So you need to remember this is the IP address which you are not able to assign to internet, or it's in your, the network interface card as a public IP address. I'm just posing here in case if you have any questions or if you have any doubt related to this one, we can have a discussion. If you're good with this, we'll move to the next part. So if you're good, I request you to confirm to the chat option. So if you're good, I request you to confirm to the chat option. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. Waiting the response from the rest of the members also to ensure that we are all on the same page. So thank you. It's been like, yeah. So we got a couple of feedbacks and it's been updates. Now let's move to the next topic. Right now we understood how IP address is being distributed. Now, if you're creating a VNet, so when you are creating a VNet, let's try to understand a VNet first. So then we'll see like how subnet, or it's been how VNet is can be created here. So let's go for understanding details. So let's go for creating a VNet. I'm just going to create a VNet first. So let's connect to the virtual machine or the Microsoft portal. Let me connect. Let me take you to our lab. So, so we are trying to simulate this lab right now. So this is the lab right now we are going to do. We'll try to create a virtual network first. So we'll create a virtual network first, and we'll try to create a 2 VM and with a different subnet, and we'll try to add additional network interface card also. So this is the first lab right now we are going to do. So like how IP address is being given and how public IP address is given, and we'll try to create a public IP address and how this is been connected to this one. So this is a lab right now we are going to do with Microsoft. This one. So let's connect to the Microsoft portal. So we all know it's been like we are using a GUI method here. So let me try to connect with the Microsoft portal. So we got the screen where we need to enter or we need to connect. So let me give my personal information over here. So right now, as I said yesterday, my account having some issues I'm facing. So I'm using my another account. So it is got from my friend. So let me type his details. Because last week I enabled one firewall and all my I forgot to switch off my firewall and it's got all money got it's been debited and account has been currently disabled strict. So it will take a week time for uh, get that account back. That's the reason just requested my friend to use my ID and I'm using that right now. So, so this is the one point you need to remember in case if you're working on Microsoft Azure portal, you say since it's as a pay-as-you-go model. So if you're using a free account or if you have some vouchers, ensure that if you're not using, ensure that you're properly cleaning or it's been wiping whatever unwanted information on the Microsoft portal. Ensure that all the resources it's been deleted from the. Otherwise, it's unnecessarily we need to pay and there will be credit will be there, so we need to avoid that. So right now we are going to create a virtual network. So creating a virtual network, it's been pretty much very easy step. One option is like in the left side of your resource panel, you will be able to see there is a, I think who else has been sharing my screen. I think someone is initiated a screen sharing. I don't know, someone has took a control of me and it's been started sharing. Suddenly I lost my sharing options. Yeah. So right now you can able to see if you want to create any virtual network in the resource panel left side, you will be able to see the virtual network option is being displayed. In case if you're not seeing, uh, it's because only it's been added the favorite here because it's all the favorite items you can able to see in the resource panel. In case if you're not seeing here, you can go to all services and you can you can go to networking and just point your mouse pointer on near to that service and you will be able to see there is one star mark has been showing here, right? If you added a star mark, you can able to see this entry will be updated here, the resource panel. Because in case if you're not seeing here, you need to ensure that you are mark this as a favorite item. Only the favorite items will be displayed in the resource panel. So right now we are removed and added and you can able to see this is been on the bottom. So the virtual network it's been can be move up or down. So it depends upon you the how you want to organize your uh, components or the resources in network. You can able to, for example, like I'm a I'm a I am a Microsoft cloud engineer. I'm always work on the Azure virtual network. So I can move up or down. It's been like based on my convenience. So one option you can click on here. You can click virtual network. Second option, you can go to the search bar and there also you can able to give virtual network. So once you are given, it's been selected as virtual network. This will be displayed existing virtual network which is currently configured under your subscription or under your account. Right now, the window right now you're seeing it's been the virtual network. Right now we haven't created any virtual network here. That's the reason it's been not showing any. We are getting a error message on the screen saying that, hey Robin, there is no virtual network to display here. So it's you need to you can go if you want you can go ahead and have. And the same information you can able to see in the all resource group also. If you go to all resources, there also you can able to see there is no resources been created. So in case if you have created any VM or it's been you have created any virtual network, along with that this account will be created right now. Along with that this virtual network will be created automatically. Right now we haven't created anything, so I'm saying right now there is no virtual network is being created. So there are two method or a two mode you can able to use it when it is coming to practical point of view. So the first mode it's been like at the time of a virtual machine itself, along with the virtual machine creation, you maybe notice you are getting an option for creating a virtual network. So at the time of a virtual machine creation, you maybe notice multiple options or a tab is being displayed under the virtual machines. You may be able to see like there is an option for a basic, and you will be option for a disk options, and you have option for a network or a management. You will be able to see different options over here. Now, one option at the time of a VM creation itself, you are getting a flexibility to create a virtual network. Right now, you can see if there any existing virtual network is available. If no, you have an option for creating from here itself. You can able to see create a new virtual network. Right now, I haven't selected any details of the subscription here and what is the resource group. That's the reason it's saying like, hey Robin, right now if you want to create this one, it's mandatory that you need to provide a resource group. You need to provide which country or which location or which region you are creating a this virtual network, and what is the billing options. All right, guys. Right now we haven't selected any of this option. That's the reason on the top you are getting a pop-up saying that, hey Robin, please go and give this information. These are the mandatory information. Otherwise, I will not be in a position to create a virtual network. So this is information we are getting. So this is one option. It's like at the time of a creation of the virtual machine, you will be able to define your virtual network. Or the second option is like you can create a virtual network and you can tag the virtual machine into this virtual network option. So for example, like if you have created a virtual network here, it's for example, like it's being called HR department. So at the time of a virtual machine option, you will be getting an options here saying that, hey Robin, there is an HR network is been configured in the location, and this is the virtual network details for you. Anyway, let's try to create this. Now, let me create a first virtual network. For example, like we'll create a virtual network. I'm using a subscription. It's been training and resource group. I'm just giving it's AZ700. I just given some space over there. That's the reason it's got a is given. So virtual network name I'm giving it's called HR department. So HR department. I'm creating best US. So IP address range I'm using. It's been 10 dot. So 10 dot is the IP range we want for you doing our lab. So if you maybe observed here, so that lab we were doing it's a 10.0 network. So let's create 10.0. We don't need to change anything right now. I'm giving it's been 10 dot. Just giving a review and create. So default HR default network. So give I'm giving given create. So give or create. So right now VNet creation in progress. So deployment is been completed. Right now, if you're going and checking the virtual network, so maybe it's been refreshing. So just wait a second. I think, sorry, the creation has been just creating, it's been just finished. So we need to just wait 1 minute. So let's refresh. Yes. Right now you can able to see we have created a virtual network called HR, and which location it's been created? It's been created in the West US. So let's create one more virtual network and we can see the difference. Right now, instead of the West US, let's take another option. For example, like let's take it in uh, another country. So for example, like the same one, I'm just given this AZ900. I'm just giving like it's called training virtual network. So instead of West US, let's go to another country. Let's go to East Asia. I just given East Asia. I given review and create. IP address range has been given 10.1.0.0./16. It's a default one. I haven't created anything on that, so leave it as it is. Now you can able to see the difference. So let's create the second virtual network. So the deployment has been created here. It's been in the progress. So deployment is in progress. So we need to just wait. I think it's been second virtual network creation also it's been progress. Right now you can able to see after refreshing, we have two virtual networks being created in two region. One is in East US and West US, and second one is in East Asia. And both resource group is being created under AZ700. Now let's create one more with a different resource group. We can see like how practically this has been or different when it is coming to connecting to a virtual machine. So I'm creating one more virtual network here. So just create one more. Let's create one. I'll be creating a new resource group. It's called this for finance department. So I'm just creating another one. It's called finance. So it's called finance. So finance network. I'm just giving finance network. This has been created in Central US. So has been created in 10.0. So 16 is the number given. Just given that. So we given has been 10.2.0.0.2. So let's create this also. So deployment is in progress. So we need to just wait 1 or 2 minutes. So let's wait. So it's been deployment. It's been completed. So So let's go to all resource. You will be able to see, let's go to virtual network. You will be able to see right now we have three virtual network has been created. Two we have created with the resource group, and one we have created in another resource group finance, and we have uh, it's been created in different location also. So right now this is the way it's been created. Now let's create a VM first. Right now the virtual network has been ready. Now let's go and create a virtual machine and we'll see what is the difference it's been coming. Now let me try to create. So let me open one more tab so you'll be able to understand the difference. So I'm just opened virtual network in another tab also. So you can able to see the virtual network right now you have created. Okay. So let's try to create a first VM here. I'm just trying to create a first VM. So this VM I'm trying to create inside AZ700 resource group. For example, like this is the place where you need to give a billing. So saying that my billing I'm going to do inside the training one. And what is the resource group I selected? I'm selecting what is the resource group? I selected AZ700. Now, if I'm going inside networking, you will be able to see the two virtual network which we have created. Right now, you can able to see there is a virtual network is been created with the AZ100 and you have one more it's been created with HR also. Now, it's created under AZ100 virtual resource group. For example, like if I'm creating a finance one, I will not be able to see HR here. See, where is the HR option is not displayed here. The reason is the finance network has been created inside the finance resource group. This HR group was created inside a AZ00 group. That's the reason it was both are in a different container. That's the reason you are not able to select the HR department here because this finance network has been mapped under a container called finance resource group because it's been mapped under the finance. That's the reason you're not able to, you're not getting these options here. Let's create the first one. Let's go for the first one. It's called AZ001. So let's create a VM called VM1 or a server one. So server one. And the location, if you can able to see, I selected Australia South. Now, if you're going in here, this option is got changed. What is the reason behind this one? Because the VM right now you are trying to map it in a different region. You're trying to map in Australia Southeast, but the virtual network which you are created here, this has been created in the West US. So that's the reason yesterday or in the morning I was saying your virtual network and virtual machine and resource group has to be on the same place. Right now, where you are not getting the West US here, the reason is the virtual machine right now you are created is going to create in a different region. So in this region, we haven't created any virtual network. So you will not be able to map. That's the reason, like when you are coming here in the networking tab saying that, hey Robin, sorry, there is no there is no existing virtual network is available here. That's the reason this has been created its own saying that if I need to complete this virtual mission, we need to ensure that there is a virtual network to be available on your location. So it's assure itself creating a VNet for you. That's the reason in bracket it's given new saying that hey Ruben, I'm creating a new virtual network with the name of 000-VNet and with the IP range of 10.3.0.0.24. I'm pausing here in case if you have any questions. Anyone is having any doubt, you can post it on the chat window. I hope this has been clear to you. That's the reason we have created a multiple network. It's clear. Any question from anyone, or is it confusing you? if you're clear, if you're understanding this one, just requesting you to confirm to the chat option, so we can all can be on the same page. So it's very clear. I think someone has told it's okay. I think we are okay with this. That the reason we are not received any other negative comments also. So thank you for that. Now I was discussing about the virtual network option. So right now, end of this session, you need to understand. Just give me a second. So right now, we are trying to create a virtual machine in a different location that's called Australia Southeast. That's the reason we are getting a RMSC saying that there is a new network to be created. Now let me go back to the West US because the virtual network already it's been placed there. So I'm just giving the same HR network. So it's been 10.0.01. So the same location I've given. I given secure balance all details I given. Just give TRG admin. I'm giving password and the credentials. So request a port I given yes. Disk anyway, let me go for the default one. Networking already I've selected. In case if I want to select a new one, I have option for here new also. For example, like it's called um, training VM, training network, something in some new name you can give and you can able to set your subnet or a dangerous details here. Now, right now I'm not setting any subnet or a details here. In case if you want to go for a fresh one, you can able to use this one. So you can able to you can go for this. So I'm giving X review and create. Let's create. So I'm just created and it's got a summary of the details, everything. In the validation one, you will be able to get uh, details saying that public IP address is to be assigned and you have accelerated networking and you have basic details will be showing here. Now, how to assign a public IP address or how to remove a public IP address, that will be seeing on the next session. So I'm just giving create. Let's create the VM. So it's with deployment in progress. So we need to wait a couple of minutes. So deployment in progress. We just let's wait. So deployment has been completed. So and we can see VM has been created here. So let's see. So you can see here it's been the VM has been created. So right now you can able to see there is a VM has been created, and you can able to see there is a IP address, a public IP address is being assigned automatically. This IP address is not defined by us. And if you're clicking here, you can able to see there is a private IP address also. It's been assigned to this VM. You can able to see what is the IP address is given. It's been given 10.0.0.4. Okay, let's note down this. Let's create one more VM. I need you guys to understand the difference. Let's create another VM. Let's go to another region, another resource group, which we have created in the finance one. Let's give it being called finance VM. And what is the locations we have selected for the finance VM? Finance network is created in the central US. So select the central US here. We created in central US. So given the basic information, so I'm just given the username and password. Right now, if you are giving next disk, I'm not able to doing any selection, disk selection. You can able to see uh, virtual network is automatically created because it's already we have created here. Now if you want to go for another one, you can able to select, or if you want to create a new one, you will be have the provision to create it here. Right now I'm not going to create any of this new network. Right now you can able to see the finance network is being mapped to 10.2.0 network. So let's see how this is being practically assigned into a client machine. So let's wait. Let's create a virtual machine. So right now it's given the validation has been completed. Just give next. So let's create that. So deployment is in progress. So deployment is in progress. So let's wait and let's go to the virtual machine. So you can able to see the second VM also it's been created. You can see the difference here. One it is created in the resource group finance, other is created in the resource group AZ100, and you can able to see both got a public IP address. This public IP address is not assigned by us. You can able to see this automatically is been assigned by the Microsoft. It's not, we haven't given any information for this. So this is the first point you need to remember. And second thing, if you're going here inside the finance VM, you can able to see there is an private IP address has been automatically assigned. You can see it's been 10.2.0.4. Right now we'll take a break. After break, we'll see like how private IP address has been assigned to the VM and why this numbers is starting from 4 and how the public IP address can be assigned or how the public IP address can be disassociated from your VM because there is a pricing is involved. So we'll take a small break. We'll take a 5 minutes break and we'll come back and we'll see like how we can add a VNIC and how we can add a public IP address or a private IP address. That point we'll discuss. So let's take 5 minutes break. I hope you're back. So I hope you're back from break. So if you're back, request you to confirm to the chat option. So waiting at least, yes. Yeah, thank you, Edwin. So right now we have created two virtual network here. Let's go to whiteboard. If you're reviewing our lab, currently we have created two virtual network. One is like HR. This is the first virtual network we have created. This is the first virtual network we have created. And we have created another virtual network. It's called finance. And this both it's been mapped to different location. One it's been mapped to West location. One it's been mapped to East Asia. So those are two locations we have created. The second activity which we have done, we have created a two VM inside this one. So we created the first VM, HR VM. Inside here, we have created another VM. It's called finance VM. So the first point you need to remember, when you created a virtual network, what is the first activity we have done? We ensured that this network is being mapped to one region, right? That's mandatory that you need to map to one region. So if you're going back to your screen, if you're observing your virtual network configuration, you will be able to identify that. You can able to see when you create a virtual network, the first activity we have done, it's been ensured that this has been mapped to one location. You don't have option for mapping this virtual network to multiple locations. So network bounding or a location bounding has to be done. So we ensure that this has been bounded or it's been mapped to one region. What is the next action you have done? You ensure that how billing has to be initiated here. So it's mandatory that we need to have a subscription also. So it's ensure that there is a subscription is been mapped and this has to be created inside a resource group also. So this is the action right now we have created. Now, if you're noting here, what is your screen? I think it's been disconnected. So you can just go back. So let's connect to. So you can able to see there is a one virtual network is being created. Now, if we are clicking here HR, you can see what is the virtual network we have created here. We are given an IP address 10.0.0.60. So let's go to our whiteboard and another network finance department. We are given a network range 10.2.0.60. So this is a two range we are given. So let's go back to our whiteboard. So HR network, what is the range we are given here? We can mark finance department. What is the range we are given? We are given 10.2.0.0.60. This is the range we are assigned to virtual network. What is the range you are given for HR department? HR department, we told the range for this one is been 10.0.0.0/60. So what is the next action we have done? We have created two virtual machines here. If you observe, this is called server one. This was the first we have created. And while creating, we told this virtual machine is going to be part of this virtual network. And we have created a finance VM here. So finance VM, I told it has to be part of this VM. Now, the moment you created here, so this VM which you have created here, it's got two IP address. One to connect to internet, that is called public IP address. It's called public IP address. So there is a VNIC card is being created. This also got a VNIC card and this got a private IP address also. If you're observing here, so this both the VM got a virtual network interface card. This is called VNIC. What is this called? Network interface card. It's similar like how you created in your on premises. The NIC card has been created because NIC card only IP address will be assigned. So you can able to see there is a VNIC has been created. Now, if you're checking inside your virtual machine, this VNIC details, if you want to see or if you want to do any kind of a modification, this VNIC details, it's been displayed inside the VM. So if you are right now, you're not able to see any VNIC information here, right? There are two places you will be able to see these details. One option, you can go to all resource. So whatever resource has been created inside your VM, and you can able to see one option. It's from here itself, you will be able to see the you will be able to see the network interface card details here. You can able to see there is a regular network interface card here. You can able to see it's saying that you can able to see there is a network interface card. It's been available here. So you can able to see network interface card. There's a two network interface card. Give me a second. Sorry, I just got some emergency call. Yeah, so we were discussing about the IP address part. So right now the screen, or it's been the discussion we are doing around the how IP address has been allotted. So if you're seeing this screen, network interface card has been by default, it's been created. Now if you're seeing on the screen, so network interface card, if you want to get the detail, one option is like you can go to all resource, and there you will be able to see a details like there is a regular network interface card. It's been created for the finance one, and this has been created in the central US. And same for other VMRs, we'll be able to see. This is like if you are sorting out with the help of this type filter button, you can able to see there is a two VM. So the first name is always will be the VM name. You can able to server one. So you can able to identify, yes, this unique card has been assigned to server, and this has been assigned to server VM. So this has been created automatically. That's a dependent kind of resource because at the time of the VM creation, we haven't given any information, sort of information about the VNIC. So this information or this card has been automatically created. Now, in case if you want to configure here, you can right click here and you will be able to configure it here. Or the second option, what you can have, it's like you can go to the virtual machine. In the virtual machine, properties, you can go to, or you can pick any virtual machine. Properties, if you can go. Once you open the properties, you will be able to see one option called networking. So you can able to see there is a network interface card is been assigned. You can able to see there is a network interface card has been created. So by default, one virtual network card only by default it's been assigned to area resource. I'm just repeating, by default only one virtual network interface card only it's been assigned by default. So that's the point you need to remember. Like at the time of a creation, this one only one virtual network card has been by default assigned. Now, in case if you want to add more than that, it's been possible also. But, so how we can add one more network interface card to your server one? If this would have a on premises one, you may be manually you may be inserting this on a PCI's express slot or a PCI slot or ISA slot. This will be adding. That was the procedure we followed in a normal on premises servers. Now when it is coming to Azure side, if you want to add any additional network card in the networking option, you will be getting an option called attach a network interface card. But right now this option is been disabled because this currently this VM, the server one VM is been currently it's in a running status. You can able to see the server one, it's in a running status. That's the reason we are not getting the option for adding any network interface card. So if you want to make any configurations, you need to ensure that this VM is in a stop state. So that's one important point you need to remember. In case if your organization or your team is getting any kind of a network reconfiguration activity or a changes, so you need to ensure that you have a valid CR in place. You maybe heard about a CR ITL practice. You maybe heard about called CR, right? So ensure that you have a valid CR is in place. Ensure that you have marked is an outage for this one because there will be an outage for this because if you want to add additional network interface card, you need to ensure that this VM is in a stop state. So I am just putting a stop state. This is not the right procedure to stop directly from the portal. We need to go to operating system and we need to do all the preventive measures. Then only we can stop any VM. So right now, what have I done? It's since it's a lab mission. That's the reason I went and hit the for selected the first press the first button called stop button, and it's been moving this VM into a uh, in a stop state. Let's wait for that. This VM is in a stop state. It's been just we enabled the shutdown. So let's wait for a minute. So right now the VM has been moved to this stop state. If you're seeing here, you can able to see it's been stopped and it's been a deallocated state. Now, if you're going back to the server one and just refresh, connect it. Right now, if you are able to see, this option is got enabled, right? Right now, the this option attach a network interface card, you are getting an option. See, I'm just giving network interface card. I can give a option here. What is this details? I can give this the same network. I can give it's like a secondary card, secondary NIC card. I give this default and where which subnet you want to map on. You want to map to any NSG group or a public info. All these details you can able to see. Right now, we are not giving any kind of informations. Now, private IP address. Now, if you're taking public or a private IP address, by default, the IP address is been assigned in a dynamic mode. That's been an automatic mode only. The IP address is been allotted on the Azure side. So, in case if you want assigning any IP address by default, this is been assigned in a dynamic mode. So, but there are some situation right now. If you're noticing here, like I'm just taking an example of this finance VM. Right now, this VM is been allotted with the IP address of a 10.2.0.4. Now, next time if I'm rebooting this server, I'll be getting another IP address. What is the reason behind that? Because by default, all the IP address which you are configuring on a Microsoft side, is it configured in automatic mode? Automatic mode that so once we are not using this one, that IP address will be released to another VM. But think a scenario where you're hosting a website or we have having some requirements saying stating that you need to have a valid static IP address. You don't want to change the IP address. Think like a website scenario. You enabled a website and the website is been mapped to that a public one a private IP address or a public IP address. Now every reboot, if this IP address is been changing, there will be an outage because user or a business may be complaining saying that hey, there is an outage issue is going on and mm, because the reason behind is that the IP address is got changed because the website or the web server or a DNS or all the record is been pointed to the first IP address. Because if the server is been rebooted, if the IP address is got changed, obviously the website won't be reachable because the record which you configured was pointing to a different IP address. So in case if you want to avoid this kind of a situation, you need to ensure that you are assigning a static or it's been the manual IP address saying that either you reboot the server or you shut down the server, you make any configuration change. This the IP address has been always assigned is a static IP address. You can state like this saying that this is the IP address always I need for my computer, saying that 2.0.10. So it will be assigned. Right now, IP address configuration is not done. That's the reason we are getting it's been getting an error message here. So right now we have in selector say 10 dot. So this is the subnet we are selected. So we need to I've given a wrong IP address range. I given virtual network range is given. That's the reason we got a error message because the virtual network right now we have been linking is a 10.0.0.0, but the IP address I was typing here it's been 10.2. It's been a different network. That's the reason saying that hey, this is a network is not valid here. This is a different one. That's the reason we got this error message. So in case you are configuring a web server or any website or application which need or it's been required a static IP address, then that kind of a situation you can go for a static one, or you can go to private one. So I'm just giving a create. So I'm creating a additional network interface card. So the point you need to remember here, by default only one network interface card only it's been by default it's been assigned to your server. In case if you want more than that, you can go for adding additional network card. The problem you need to remember here, in case if you want to add additional one, you need to ensure that there will be an additional network interface card be it's been available. So there's a point you need to remember. So any question? So if you're good, request you to confirm through the chat option. Any question from anyone? Are we good? I think we are good, and we no concerns been reported or no question is been reported. Okay, so let's move to the next option. So right now the network interface card has been configured here. Now you can able to see the secondary network card has been added here. You can able to see it's been added here. So now if you want to configure any kind of inbound rule or effective rule, any kind of a configuration if you want, you can able to do it from here. So we so this is the first lab you need to configure today. Also the lab one for you for today, it's been like I'm just pasting on the chat. So you need to ensure that I'm just pasting here the lab question for you today. Create a VM and add a secondary NIC card. So this is the first lab for you. So in your free time or it's been you can complete this one. So create a VM and add a secondary NIC. Now this is the lab currently we are done. Now we have added an additional network interface card. Now let's go back to the VM. So network interface card here. Now, now if you're noticing the VM here, like you have a server is been configured here. Now, what is the IP address is been right now? It's been assigned here. Right now, if you can see here, the server one is been created inside this network called HR network. And what is the IP address has been assigned for this? It's been assigned at 10.0.0.4. So that means right now, if you're going back to a whiteboard, you created a server one here. This server one got an IP address release from here. So 10.0.0.16 from the server got 10.0.0.4. This VM is been connected to this network. And what is the IP address this got? 10.2.0.4. I hope it's been clear to you. Now, right now we have created a VM and IP address is been configured. And this is the IP address right now it's been released. Now, by default, IP address 1, 2, 3. These are missing here, right? And here also, if you're noticing here, even though the IP address is starting from 0, the first VM got an IP address from a 4. So people may be having an option thinking like what happened to 2. And so you need to remember, if you're taking any VM or any network on Azure side, by default, it's been assigned to network address. So this won't be able to release. The first IP address will be used for a network IP address. And if you're taking any VM on Azure side, one will be always assigned to your gateway address. That means in this case, 10.0.0.0.1 is assigned to network address. 10.0.0. Sorry, one is been assigned to gateway. 0 is been assigned for a network address. That's called a broadcast kind of address. One is been assigned to gateway address, and you have a 2 and 3. So 2 and 3. That means if you're taking any IP, 10.2 and 3 is been assigned to DNS. So in this case, 10.0.0.3 is been assigned to DNS, 0.4 also, 0.2 and 0.3 also it's been assigned to the DNS. And by default, if you're taking any IP address, x.x.x.255 will be the network broadcast address. Network broadcast address. So this is the 4 point. If you want, I'm just pasting it on the chat. So let me type and send you on the what in the Teams chat so you can able to save it for a future purpose. Just pasting it on that. So this is the information for you. So you can able to bookmark it or you can able to update this one. So this is a for information you can able to. And just paste it on the chat so be able to help you for this in the future. I just typed and shared on the WhatsApp chat, not WhatsApp, the Teams chat. So the point you need to remember, so whenever you are going to create any kind of a network here, right now you're seeing like how private IP address has been assigned. So it's been assigned from a virtual network. Now the point you need to remember, right now if you can able to see here, whenever you are creating any VNet, it's been like if you maybe observe or like by default there is a CADR block is been created. So here also is a CADR block is been created. Now here also there is a CADR block is been created. So in case if you are linking this both two, there are some situation you have a VNet here like HR department is created and you have a finance department is created. At any point of time, if you want to link these two, you need to ensure that the CADR block is been having no conflict at all, because you need to ensure that the IP range which you are using here and IP range you are using here, there is no kind of non-overlapping addresses, because if you are linking this one, there is a chance of conflict. So overlap is being need to be taken care. So in case if you are planning or designing this one, ensure that there will not be any overlap. And in case if you want any kind of isolation, in case you want to do any kind of isolation, for example, like you created a IP range 10.0.16. Now you have a multiple computers, or it's been a confidential information you want to save in this network. For example, like you have HR database has been coming. So you don't want all the VMs in the virtual network to be communicated to this HR database. You can create a separate subnet for this. You can create a subnet for this. How to create a subnet? Possible will not possible, we'll try to show you this one how we can able to create another subnet. So you need to ensure that the IP address which you are configuring, or you're uh, assigning to the VNet, it's been to be valid one, and in to ensure that there is no conflict with the other network. And the public IP address which right now it's been assigned, whatever IP address you currently it's been assigned for you. So this public IP address, there is no action is from our side. This has been assigned by the Microsoft. So the point you need to remember, there is a pricing is involved for this. So the pricing it's been actually pricing is actually need to be avoided, because in case if you have a 1,000 or a 2,000 VM is been available in the network, and if all the VM has been assigned with the public IP address, there will be an IP pricing it's been to be paid to Microsoft. So you need to ensure that in case if you are not really needed this public IP address, this IP address needs to be avoided. Now let's see how we can able to avoid, how we can able to remove this IP address. So yesterday I have seen it's been like, or we had a discussion also, like by default, if you're seeing any VM, for example, like this is a virtual machine you have created. Right now you can able to see this, there is a VM is been created here. See here, this is a VM we are using, and this is the another, this second computer also, for example, like a finance VM we have seen. Now if you go to server VM also, server VM also it's been connected. So public IP address has been assigned to here. So what is the public IP address? It's been dynamic. So public IP address. Look like some subscription issue. IP address is not assigned to this. Let's wait for that. Anyway, let's connect to the first VM, the finance VM. Now, if I need to connect to this finance VM, as everyone knows, it's been using a Microsoft MSDSC. We are connecting, or you have option for a connect here. So we can able to download a RDP file here. So using a public file, we are connecting. So I'm just connecting here. Now, this is the method generally we are all following. It's like you'll be giving a public IP address, and from external, it's been connecting. So you need to remember, uh, by default, uh, if you are not allowed this RDP connection, so if you may be noticing here at the time of a VM creation, for example, like a virtual machine. So at the time of a VM creation, you got an option called what is the inbound port to be allowed here, right? So for example, like, so right now we are seeing like what is the inbound rule? Because yesterday was saying like by default there is a thumb rule, it's been applicable here, and saying that by default all the incoming, by default there is a all incoming or inbound rules are, it's been blocking here. So by default, if you're not selecting here, for example, like if I'm, for example, like this right now it's been Ubuntu is selected, that the reason it's SSH string. Now in case if you're selected a Windows VM, and if you're not selected this RDP protocol here, you will not be in a position to connect this VM using a RDP or a remote protocol. So because this an NSG rule is been creating. Now if you go back to Finance VM and on the networking tab on the right side, you may be seeing there is a two option is been showing here. One is called inbound route. Second one is called outbound route. So this is the route. It's been created in the NSG level. See, there is a NSG is created. That's called a kind of a internal firewall. So this NSG is a kind of an internal firewall that generally it's been applied either in the subnet level or this will be applied in the NAZ level. So your NSG can be configured either on a subnet level or this can be configured in the NAC level also. So right now by default, rule is been applied in the NAC level. Now if you want to make any kind of a rule changes, that can be possible here. By default, there will be a three rule will be created for your inbound rule. Whatever rule right now we are seeing this at 300, this we are manually we are created. So when we are created manually, at the time of a VM creation is said, hey, this VM RDP protocol is allowed. That's the reason in the inbound rule, you are getting option saying that 3389 has been created here. So inbound rule saying that for this finance VM or from an external network, there is an inbound connection which has been connecting to port number 3389 with a public IP address has been allowed. By default, this is not allowed. In case if you're selecting an option saying that no, I don't need, then there will not be any inbound rule will be created. So you will not be able to access your VM or you will not be able to access your workstation from the external network. Any question? I'm just pausing here for taking your questions to ensure that we all are on the same page. So if you're good, requesting to update to the chat option. So when will be the express route? Express route Krishna will be discussing tomorrow. So the VN and when the VPN and uh, express route session will be tomorrow. Express route will be discussing. Express route and S2S and P2S lab will be tomorrow. Krishna, you're comfortable with this? Whatever topic right now we are discussed, like how public IP address has been associated or it's been assigned to your VM. So hope we are comfortable with that. Yeah, that topic has been clear to you. Thank you. So let's move to topic. I think yes. Let's see how public IP address can be done. There is an option for as in a static one. You have option for doing that also. So let's see how we can able to resolve that. So I'll show you that. Smith, I'll show you that while moving to it. Now, right now, if you're noticing here, so by default, both the VM is been by default the public IP address is been. Right now, this VM is not showing a public IP address. The reason it's like it's in a stop or a allocated state. So that's the point you need to remember here. For example, like what is the public IP address right now? This VM is been getting. It's been getting an IP address called. Right now, the VM status is in a running state, and so let me note down this IP address. Let's right now let's note down this IP address and let's shut down this VM. Right now, you may be already familiar, like if you want to shut down any VM through the operating system. Uh, about the VM, like it's been like you can able to operate, you can able to reboot, or you can able to start from OS side. Now, at any point of time, in case if you are rebooting from here, there are two challenges you can able to face here. For example, like I'm just stopping here, and we have not done, we have copied the public IP address. Right now, it's been this assigned with this VM. Just I'm just pressing the stop button. Let's see what technically happening on the back end. Like when you're pressing a reboot or when you're pressing a stop button, you can able to see this VM is been moved to a different state. That's called a stop or a deallocated. That means VM will be deallocated from the existing host and it will be a moved to temporary one. That's the reason it should be showing a deallocated state. Right now we have initiated a stop for a finance VM. Previously, this was assigned with an IP address 20.46.249.65. So wait a second. Let's see what will happen to this public IP address. So we need to wait a second. Right now, it's been initiated. Let's refresh and see. This refresh. It's an initiated refresh. Stop this VM. Where this has been public IP address, static. Look like there is a static IP address has been assigned for this. Let's see. Look like where this IP address is not being released. Let's see. So there is a static IP address has been by default. It's been assigned for this. That's the reason this same IP address is been reserved. So Sumit, whatever you're seeing here, this is a reserved. This IP address is reserved. That's the reason. Even though if you are rebooting or a stop location, this IP address is not changing. Let's try with another one. We'll be able to see the difference. Let's start and reboot this one. Hold for a second because the other IP address was in an allotted state. So let's wait for a second. I just powered on the VM. So let's refresh. Not sure where this VM is not. Yes, it's been assigned with a public IP address. You see, its IP address has been 241. You can able to see 241. Now let me reboot this server. Not started. Yes, it's been not 241 is the IP address, and we have copied this one. Let's stop and see. Now, Sumit, you maybe notice there would be a pop-up is coming like, do you want to reserve that IP address? If you're not, if you observe that, you may be seeing that. If you have a portable public, is it applicable to use here in a, yes, you can give it touch. Like if already you have a public IP address is reserved you for you at the time of a creation, you have option to give that address. So reserve an IP address, I'll show you how this can be done. So the VM currently we have powered on. Let's see. Both the VM it's been actually in off condition. Now the server one, you can able to see what happened to your private IP address, public IP address. It's been removed from that VM, right? So if you're noticing here, so it's been by default it's been removed. So you will be able to see this VM is in, so you can be able to see in removed from this. So any doubt? So in case if you want to move or if you want to, if you're powering on this VM, for example, like I'm just powering on this VM. Now we'll see. You'll be getting a new public IP address. Right now, you can able to see what was the private IP address. Public IP address was assigned to this. You can able to see here. So we just powered on that VM. So we need to wait. So you can able to see the VM has been back online. Now if you're clicking here, you're clicking VM, you can able to see what is the IP address has been assigned. You can able to see the IP address is got changed. So previously we having an IP address of maybe similar, it was a 241, right? Now this IP address is being changed to what is the IP address right now here? It's been 220.253.207.190. So IP address is got changed. So you need to remember at any point of time, if you're configuring a website or if you need to have a static IP address, then you need to either you need to reserve that or you need to ensure that there is a static IP address is been assigned to your VM. Now, if you want to assign to that static IP address to your VM, you need to go to the networking tab, respective VM you can go, and in the network card properties, you can go to the IP configuration. Inside the IP configuration, you have an option for selecting this one. Right now, I'm uh, using a Microsoft Trainer ID. That's the reason I'm not getting option. You other in your account you'll be getting in one more option like what is the IP address to be static. You'll be getting like a private IP address. You'll be getting option for static. You'll be getting an option for static also. So in your computer or in your portal you'll be getting an option for selecting this IP address. So typically this will be inside your network configuration. You can just go to network and inside the network card properties, inside the IP configuration you will be able to. Now Sumit was asking is there any option for reserving this address? Yes, at the time of a deletion you will be getting an option like at the time of like a stop button you have an option for reserve also. Sumit, like in case if you want to reserve that IP address, you have an option for here. So you'll be getting a box here. So in the box, you'll be able to set that option saying that, hey, I need to reserve this IP address. So you have option for reserving. So in case if you are rebooting this next time, it will be the same IP address will be assigned to your computer. So that's the important point here. Now another important point you need to remember here. Right now, all the public IP address is being assigned for the old VM. Now let's take a scenario. Let's go back to whiteboard. Now we created multiple VMs here, and all the VM we understood like all the VMs is getting public IP address from the computer. So let's take a scenario. You created multiple VM in your organization. For example, like you configured this is VM1, this is a VM2, VM3, VM4, whatever. So right now we understood like each VM right now, if you created VM3 or a 2 or 1, by default, there is a public IP address is been connected, assigned. So there is a public IP address assigned for this and this IP address has been assigned for this also. So there are two parameter or other two factors you need to consider here. One is like right now you're getting a public IP address here, you're getting a public IP address here, here also you're getting a public IP address. So there are 2 points you need to remember here. This public IP address is not a free of cost. So there will be a cost is involved. Second one, it's been like you need to worry about the network security also here, because when the VM is being connected to internet, you are allowing any hacker or any person or a bot or any kind of malware to enter into a network, because you're saying that you are giving a direct access. If you're connecting this VM through a public, you are doing some kind of a network compromise on your network, saying that you're allowing the users or the network or a traffic to connect to your network through the public IP address, right? So second one is obviously there will be a So right now, if you are seeing here, you have allowed or you got a public IP address from all the VMs, and this has been connecting to internet also. So this method is not okay. Like when you are especially working on a scenario where your production servers are hosting. So that kind of a situation, we need to remove a public IP address because we need to ensure that one is like we need to save the budget part or a costing part. Second one, it's like you need to remove a public IP address also. Now people may be getting a question like if I'm a user, if I need to connect to this VM, Robin, I was using RDP connection, and if you're removing a public IP address, what are the options is available in front of you? This may be the one question you may be getting. So typically when it is coming to production scenarios, the first method right now we are following one-to-one connection kind of thing you are following, right? So we'll be following like you have a VM and you have another VM. So if I'm a user, I'll be connecting using RDP using a public IP. And here also I'll be using the public IP address of this. So this is the one method or one mode of a connection, right? I hope you are agreeing with this point. So, okay. So this is the mode currently we are using. Now, we understood there is an issue with the cost and network security. So in most of the organization, we'll be using an alternate method for this. So they'll be using a concept called gem server or something called gateway server. So in your organization, if I need to connect, instead of all the VM who has been connecting to internet, just give me a second. So instead of connecting this one, most of the organization will be using a concept called gem server, or they'll be using a concept called gateway server. So if any user want to connect to uh, internal network, only through this gateway server, this will be connected. This will be connected. So this servers will be assigned with a public IP address. So this servers will have a private IP address also it's been available. So internal communication will be done with the help of a private IP address. So all this VM which you are hosting internal will not have any kind of a public IP address. This will be removed. Only this will have private IP address. So 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 right now you are save the cost with the help of this kind of a model, like you will have a kind of operating system here. So this gateway server is typically kind of a Windows server. So you'll have a Windows server has been placed, and this will be placed internal or outside of your firewall, and all the user will be connected to this gateway server using RDP protocol. So this gateway server will have a public IP address. So user will be connecting using RDP, and from here again it will take an RDP connection. So here from here to the VM or this one, it will be through the private IP. The connection from here, it should be through the private IP. So internal connection will be through the private IP address. So this is one mode of operation. So the problem here you are facing here, it's a kind of a ISAS product. So like it's a kind of a ISAS product is been using because it's been the operating system management or the VM management is coming under the scope of our work. So this is one mode currently using, or there is one more option generally we are using in a customer place that's called Azure Bastion service. So I'll be discussing this point in day after tomorrow, like how to configure a Bastion network. Typically, like you have a scenario, it's like you are connecting to a jump server and there is a OS management or the VM management is coming to picture. So that kind of a situation, how we can tackle this one or what are the options we have in front of us. So that generally it's been done with the help of a concept called Bastion service. So you'll be connecting to a PaaS service. So you'll have a PaaS service will be available. So this is a kind of a PaaS service. So with the help of a PaaS service, you will be able to connect to Microsoft VMs or the network it's been available. So with the help of a PaaS network, you will be able to connect to this one. So this is one mode. This is the third mode generally in a production scenarios we are using. Or few customer places I have seen like you will be using a concept of a Azure firewall. So Azure firewall will be available. So this Azure firewall will have a public IP address and internal translations will do with the help of a concept called NATing. So you'll be enabling a NATing service here. So you'll be enabling Azure firewall. So if any user want to connect, they will be connecting to public IP address and they'll give a port number. And with the help of that, you will be able to connect to the internal machine. So this is the way generally the public IP address is being managed in Microsoft Azure scenario. So if you really want a public IP address to be assigned to VM, by default this will be allowed. And in case if you're thinking like no, there is a cost and network security, I need to make some kind of a control on that, then you can go for that. So this is the way public IP address is managed. Now I am getting a question here. Then in case it's been associated or it's been created, how will you remove that? So in case if you want to remove the public IP address from your VM or in your system, you can go back to the VM itself. So you can just go to any VM and select the option called networking. You can go to networking tab. In the networking tab, you will be seeing like a network interface card. Click on that and it will be pointing you to another configuration tab where you can able to do IP configuration or a DNS or a alerting or it's the locking kind of options you will be able to select it. So go to the IP configuration and here you will be able to see whatever currently what are the IP addresses currently it's been configured. So you will be able to disassociate. Right now you can able to see the public IP address is been associated with this network card for the virtual network. Now in case if you want to disassociate this one, you can go and disassociate this one. So you can able to go and disassociate this one and you can able to save it. So you will be able to disassociate this one. So this is the way generally the public IP address has been removed from your network. So right now we have removed this one. So let's wait a minute. So right now we have associated this one. So whenever you're making any configuration change, ensure that you are saving also, because most of the time I've seen like people will make a configuration change, but they will forget to save it also. So there will be able to see there is a floppy disk kind of a symbol you will be able to see on the top. So that's for the saving one. So ensure that you are getting that option. So just give save. Now if you're going back to the virtual machine and just refresh, you may be noticed the public IP address right now it's been associated here. It's been removed also. See here, it's been removed for the server one. So we were working on the second one. So this public IP address, it's been removed. Any question? So I'm just pausing here for a minute. So in case if you have any question, you can post on the chat. Any question from anyone? So let's take the posted questions. Um, Portable IP address. Okay, so yeah. Now this is the way generally the public IP address has been assigned, or it's been assigned on the computer. So end of this session, you need to understand. So what is the purpose of a public IP address here? So there's a first point you need to remember. It's been like it's been basically using for connecting to external network. This public IP address has been using. So the first point you need to remember in the public IP address case, public IP address has been it's like a internet basically using for connecting to internet. There's a important purpose of the public IP address. So in case if you're remembering here, so there is a point as of now we are discuss. It's for connecting to net, or it's been the external network you can able to use. Private IP address is been typically using for connecting to a internal network, which are not routable to the public network. There's the second point you need to remember. Now, if you want to configure any IP address on the system or in the workstation, both the IP address is been by default. It's been uh, both the IP address can be able to save on this one. So like you will have a private IP address and it's been supported the public IP address also. That's the third point you need to remember. Public IP address is enable you to connect to an internet resource. Like if you want to communicate from outbound, or if you want to in or the public facing Azure services, if you want, then you can able to go for the public IP address. So it's public IP address has been dedicated to a specific resource until it's unassigned by a network engineer or by us. So in case if you're not unassociating, or it's been like unassigning, or it's we are not removing from this one, it's been to a specific resource. And with the help of that, you will be able to configure a service like a natting can be enabled. Like in you want to do any kind of a natting, like a resource you need to communicate from outbound to inbound through a natting service, that can be able to do it here. And so we have seen this one, how this public IP address is been given. So typically, if you are seeing any observing your Azure infrastructure, now people may be getting a question like, where will I use this public IP address? So there are five scenarios generally. Cloud administrators will be using a public IP address. So if you're listing here, so like the first one, generally you'll be using for the virtual machines. So virtual machine interface card, generally this will be assigned. And in case if the VM, if you are configured, like if you have any kind of a internet facing load balancer, if you're configured in your organization. So that means in case if you're configured any internet based load balance in your organization, we can able to go for assigning a public IP address. So virtual machine will be assigned with a public IP address, and you will have a public load based this one. And you will have, like in case if you have configured any kind of a VPN gateway. So if you have configured any VPN gateway in your organization, uh, it's been used by the VPN gateway. So and you have any kind of a application gateway, application gateway, it's been configured into your organization, or like a VPN gateway or application gateway, it's been configured. Or in case if you have a Azure firewall, it's been like if you're configured, you can able to use public IP address. In case if you're using a Azure Bastion service, the public IP address will be configured. So you need to remember, you can configure public IP address in two mode. One it's like you can able to configure in a dynamic mode, or this can be configured in a static mode also. So in case if you have a public IP address want to be a static public IP address, then you can go for a static public IP address, or you can go for a dynamic one also. So you'll have both options. You have a dynamic one and you will have a static one also. So this is the option is currently we have, it's like a dynamic and static also. So both the option you can able to configure, and both can be configured in both the version also. You can able to go for IP version 4, or you can go for a IP version 6 also. So both the mode this can be able to configure. So by default it's the dynamic is the IP address is by default it's been assigned. You may be noticed like at the time when we are stop or a restart, or it's been like IP address is it's been changed. So it's been a dynamic mode. It's been by default. It's been provided. Now, dynamic IP address, everyone knows it's been released. Like the moment you stop or delete or restart, the IP address will be released. That's called a dynamic IP address. Static IP address, you already clear. It's been like in case if you want to, you are not interested for you don't want to change or for the lifespan of the particular Azure resource. Then you can ensure that IP address is remains for the same, and you set the allocation method to a explicitly to a static method. Then that can be configured in a static IP address. So in this case, IP address is assigned immediately, and is you be released only the time when you delete the VM. Otherwise, this IP address will be static for this. And the pricing part already we have discussed. Now, if you want to get a more details on that, the pricing part, this is the link for that. So I'm just pasting the link for the pricing part. So you need to ensure that there's a pricing is available, and this is the link for that. So I just pasted the pricing link. So in case if you want to get more insight on the pricing or the how costing is being done, you can be able to refer this document. So this will be giving some additional information to you. So that's about the pricing part. Now, when you're creating a public IP address, now in case if you want to create a public IP address, right now at the time of the virtual network you created. Now, in case if you want to create a public IP address, you can go to virtual machine. Right now, the public IP address is being you are created or along with the virtual machine. Now you're thinking like, no, I need to have a separate public IP address to be a resource to be created. Now, in that case, you can go to the search bar and you can just type the option called public IP address. You can go to right now whatever public IP address right now it's been created along So you can able to go to public IP address. If you're selecting here, this will be it will be listing whatever current public IP address currently it's been created. Right now you can see there is a two VMAs created. Along with that, there is a public IP address created. That's the reason it's saying like, hey Robin, it's been like there is a two public IP address already in place. Now if you want to create a new one, you can go for that. So you can able to create a new public IP address saying that, hey, I need a new public IP address to be created. Now, based on the storekeeper unit, that's a SQ value. There's a two mode you can able to see like how you want your pipe. For example, like if you want to go for a basic mode, you have an option for a static or a dynamic, and what is the IP address range you want, and all these details you'll be able to select. For example, like I'm creating a public IP address for my um, a website, for example, like a cloud portal. This is a public IP address I'm going to use for my cloud portal. And this IP address is, I already have a static IP address available with me. And the static IP address details you can able to select. And you will be able to select what is the DNS for this. For example, like I'm saying, that, hey, this is for the cloudportal.com. So from internal, people will be able to validate. Right now, I'm not able to validate this one because I haven't purchased any kind of domain from GoDaddy or any other vendor. So, so in case if you have a valid DNS is been available and it can be routable through internet, then you can able to configure. Now here you need to remember only 2 point here. SKU stands for storekeeper unit. This basically how the allocation is being done. So if you are in a basic mode, you will be getting an option for dynamic and dynamic allocation or a static allocation. So it's been able to it's been opened by default, and this is the Microsoft recommended solution. So NSG is a solution is been recommended here. And so both the cases, like a dynamic case, you will get the only for a static allocation. So in case if you are going for a started method, so you'll be able to get only the option. You'll not get any option for both. By default it's be the static is been assigned in the by default in case if you are going for a standard SQ mode. So it's been both the cases you will be able to use it, so based on your requirement. The problem here is like in case if you are going for a basic mode, you will not get any kind of a zone availability zone scenario. So like when you are going through this when you attended this AZ900 or a 10 exam, you may be heard about the zone or a availability or a zone redundant or a no zone or a zonal more options. So if you're using a basic SQL mode, it won't support any availability zone scenarios. So basically, basic SQL mode, it's like you can able to select. It's like there are some situation like if you want to assign to a network interface card or a VPN gateway or a public load balancers or a gateway, then you can go for this one. And the same thing can be applicable in the standard also. Both the cases you can able to assign to the VM or it's been public load balance or application gateways, and you will be able to configure. So both the mode you will be able to configure, and what is the routing preference you want, how you want to route your information, all these details you will be able to select it from. So this is the way generally the public IP address is being created. Now you need to remember um, one thumb rule. It's like you cannot bring your own public IP address from your on premises. Like for example, like you already have a on premises public IP address available with you, that you will not be able to paste it here. So it be assigned from a available address by the Microsoft. So whatever the pool Microsoft is doing, only that IP address you will be able to use it. So there is someone is asking a portable one. I just told so like you can able to use only if it's assigned by the Microsoft. It's mean like you already have a website and there is a public IP address is been allotted to you. You cannot bring your own public IP address here. And another point you need to remember, in case if you have created any public IP address here, you cannot move between the regions also. So one region to another region, you will not be able to read. So all the public IP address which you are configuring here, it's a region specific. That's important point you need to remember. So you will not be whatever public IP address is being allotted from a range, and that range has been unique and in each Azure Cloud Portal. So you will not be able to move from one region to another region, and it's been a unique number, and it's been a region specific one number. Now, if your business has been scattered around to multiple region, you need to ensure that your public IP address will have a different range will be configured. So that important point you need to remember. So there are some situation in case if you want to do some kind of a traffic balance native in a region specific instance, then you need to go for a Azure Traffic Manager kind of a services. For example, like there is a two region and two public IP address also available. And if you want to do any region specific or traffic management, then you can go for the Azure Traffic Manager option. So Azure Traffic Manager is a service available in the Microsoft. So with the help of that, you will be able to do a region specific instance management or a traffic management. Um, whatever information or the prefix which you are saving or it's been you are giving at the time of the configuration, that you will not be able to rechange. Whatever rules with the specific firewall rules or the prefix which you are giving, that you will not be able to change in the future. So that's the important point you need to remember. End of the session, you need to understand it's a region specific detail, and you will not be able to change it, and you will not be able to move from one location to another location also. So that's a couple of points you need to remember here. Now, let me post you a question here. So this is the first in assessment for you. It's been like the last couple of minutes we were discussing on debating on the uh, uh, public side. So this is one question for you. You can post your answer. This is an in training assessment for you. So you can post your answer in as a or a B or a C. So this for a self evaluation. Just pasted one question for you. So you can post your answer. So you can post your answer on the chat. Waiting the answer from all the team members. So we got only 4 answer. So answer for this question is like uh, which of the following statement is about true about the VNet? So answer for this question is like answer B. Uh, all VNet enable the communication between Azure resource. So with the help of VNet, you will be able to communicate each other, because virtual network can connect to any resource, which includes the VM, or it can be connected to app service, or it can be connected to Azure Kubernetes service, or it can be connected to Azure virtual machine scale set, or it can be connected to endpoints also. So, and it can be a SQL database or a storage database. So answer for this question is answer B, and it's been connect to this one. So the right answer for this one, it's been answer B. Now let's move to the next question. So this is the next question for you. So this is a question you can expect for the AZ700 certifications. So this is the next question for you. So you can post your answer on the chat window. This is the next question. So waiting the rest of the members also to post the answer. So answer for this question is answer C. But members has been posted, it's been right answer. Like any IP address, it's been available. It's been based on the location or the source. So answer for this question is answer C. Now you need to complete this exercise. So this is the next lab question for you. So this is the lab question you can complete in the evening time, or else once you're free. This is the lab 3 question for you. So the exercise is designing implement, and this is the X. This is a question for you. Just question the link also. So just let me paste. This is the exercise you need to complete in your free time. So this is the link. So this is the lab 3 for you. So ensure that in the free time you're finishing this lab question. So lab 3. Now creating a VM has been completed. Now let's power on the VM and let's create a VM. So right now the lab currently we are doing, so like a pricing, we are done deployment of it. Now let's create a VM and let's VM has been already created. Now let's connect VM with a IAS website. So it's been like let's try to connect a web server here. So let's go back. Let's go back to our scenario. Oh, stop sharing. So the lab currently we are going to do it's something different one. Right now the lab currently we are going to do, it's been like right now you got a VM, you have created a VM, for example, like a server one. This is a server one right now. So this has been assigned with a public IP address. All of us know there is a public IP address assigned, and this got a 2 disk. One is called OS disk is called, and this got a temporary disk also. Temporary disk is basically using for a page file or a SAP file. This is the disk generally using, and basically this is the size generally to have a 127 GB, and this is generally it's been up to 16 GB or depends upon what is the size configuration you select. And the subscription or account part is already been taken. So right now we are going to install a web service here. Right now we are going to create a IAS website here, and we'll try to access this website from internal and we'll try to access this from external also. We'll try to see how this can be possible here. For example, like this server is having an IP address 10.0.0.0.4 and public IP address anyway it's been deleted, so we need to connect it and we'll see how to access this one. Now let's go back to the VM. Now we already have a VM here, it's been placed here, so let's try to connect. Now we have a two virtual machine is been configured here. So we have a server one is already running here. You can able to see there is a public IP address already we are disabled, so we need to associate it back. You can able to, let's go to virtual network configuration and IP address. Let me associate and just save it. So there is a right now it's got an error because I haven't mentioned IP address. This details the network I haven't mentioned, so it's got. Let's wait. Let's so it's been created. So it's been saved. Now let's go back to the virtual machine. There's a VM has been running, and let's take a copy address. Let's try to install a web service. Let's connect using a MSDSC. I'm just typing this public IP address here. Let me connect it. I given the username and password details here. So it's asking, it's been connecting. Connection has been establishing. So let's wait. Okay. Now we are trying to connect to the VM where we are created on the West US locations. We're just trying to connect to that VM and trying to install a website. So you can able to see. I'm just trying to install a server here. So just go to server manager. Go to manage. It's been validating the services which is currently running the servers. We need to wait a minute. So right now this validation is over. So just next, I'm just giving an IAS web installation here. So I'm just selecting web server IAS features. Next install. So installation. So let's wait a couple of minutes for the installation part. So installation is being started. So installation has been completed here. Right now, if you want to validate that, you can able to access for let's try this accessing from internal. Now, for example, like if you're taking this VM, so what is the IP address currently it's been using? So, so IP address is been right now it's been using 10.0.0.4. So let's go and validate, and I'm just giving like so it's been yet the first time we are using, so it's getting a couple of authentication or basic information is asking. I'm just saying that I don't want to give all this information. I'm giving my public IP address, sorry, private IP address. I'm giving just I'm giving connecting to my web server, which currently it's been configured internally. So what is the reason I given 10.0.0.4? Because from the same computer or from the same network, I'm trying to access this computer. So what is the IP address I use? I have used 10.0.0.4, right? Any question from anyone? Now let's think a scenario. Right now, team, if you are able to understand this, what is the lab currently we are done? You created a server here. Okay. Now we install an operating system on this VM. On top of that, you have installed a website, IIS. Now I am a user. I have connected from an internal network. So what is the IP? This computer is been got with a two address. One, it is got a public IP address, and this I got a private IP address. That's it. What is the private IP address assigned for this computer? 10.0.0.2. The other reason in my laptop right now I given 10.0.0.2. So what happened? It's been connected here. What is the protocol I use? I use a protocol HTTP. So it can be HTTP or HTTPS also. I told HTTP//10.0.0.2, and it's been connected, and we got a website here, right? We got the website here. Now you need to tell me if I'm a user, for example, like if Edwin has been accessing this website, Edwin or the team, you tell me what is the IP address we need to type it on the browser. You need to uh, share your thought on the chat, like what will be the IP address you need to type it on your browser. So you can paste your answer on the chat window. So you need to tell me what will be the IP address you will use when if you are connecting from an outside network. For example, like this is internet you have, and you are connecting from an external. This is your internet, and Edwin you are trying to connect. So you need to tell me what is the IP address you are going to use it here. So you can mark it as a private address or a public IP address. You can post your view on the chat window. So I'm waiting the response from the team members. So you need to just share me what will be the IP address you will be using. So typically if we have to use public IP address because from your computer, if you're typing 10.0.0.2, this is a private IP address, right? This is a not, it's not, we cannot route, it's not a routable, right? It's a non-routable IP address in that line. So if the moment, if you're typing the 10.0.0.2, see here, now in the browser, if I'm typing here, I'm just typing 10.0.0.2. If I'm entering, this IP address is not routable. It's not a 0.2, it's been 10.0.4. Because of the 4 is the IP address assigned to the VM. Right now, this is not routable. What is the reason? I'm able to use the same IP address internally. See here, internally I'm able to use, but externally it's not able to because it's a private IP address. So what is the solution available in front of us? We need to use a public IP address. What is the public IP address for this one? Server one. It's been 20.228.127.177. Let's try with that address. Now, from the window, the computer or from external, if you're typing 20 dot or the public IP address, if you're typing, this packet or request will come up to Azure side. Right now, you can see here it's trying to identify, even though your web server or a website is been installed, it's trying to resolve this one, but you're getting an error message here. What is the reason behind that? Let's wait. What is the reason behind that? Yes, right now you got the site cannot be reached. So the reason it's behind this is, I'll tell you what is the reason behind this. By default, if any user it's been connecting here, it's been say connecting with a packet saying that I need to connect to http / whatever the address we were using. We were using an address of 20 dot whatever IP address. Packet is reached here, and from the VM, it's told sorry boss. The reason it's like by default, all inbound connections are blocked. By default, all inbound connections are blocked. But at the same time, if you maybe noticed here, let's go back to the our VM. This is the VM which you have created, right? In the VM, if you're typing google.com, it works. See here. So you'll get internet connection. So that means outbound connections are by default, it's been enabled. So this is a VM here. So from the VM to external network, connection is being allowed. So if you're going back here, from your VM to external network, that means from the VM to here, outbound is by default, it's allowed. Who is deciding this allow or inbound? This is being decided by a feature inside here that is called NSG. It's a kind of a internal firewall. This is generally known as a network security group. So this network security group is it's a kind of a firewall. How this network security group is been configured? This is been assigned either in the NIC level or this is been configured in a subnet level. So this can be configured in a subnet level or this can be configured in a NIC level also. So right now, Edwin is trying to connect from an external network and the packet is reached here. So right now there is no packet allow policy is being configured here because by default inbound rule is been allowed is not allowed, and you have a 3 inbound rule is been by default it's been placed, 3 onboard rule is been placed, plus 1 RDP rule you are created at the time of a creation also. Now if I need to allow this one, from a packet from inside to here. In the inbound rule, I need to define HTTP packet to the IP address is allowed by admin. So in the, if you're going back to the VM, you can able to see in the VM properties. You can able to see here in the networking, there is a by default 3 rule is been configured here. So you can able to see there is a 3 inbound rule, and you can able to see there is a 3 outbound rule also. So by default, all outbound connection, all internet connections are allowed. You can able to see here, it's been allowed. See here, it's been allowed. If you're noticing here in the network properties, in the effective rule, you can able to see by default, all external connection is allowed. Now inbound connection, by default, all deny all inbound connections. See here, it's been by default, it's been denying all inbound connection. Only RDP is been allowed here. How RDP is allowed? Because at the time of a creation, we have defined any packet which is been coming with a RDP protocol with a port number 3389 is been allowed with a protocol TCP. That's the reason RDP connection is been allowed to this public IP address. So if any packet is be coming with a 3389, your NSG will validate yes, this packet is been allowed, and this is been, it's been it can be configured here. That details will be given here. So this generally it's been working with the help of a priority order. So if you are noticing here, so there is a priority order is given here, right? So you'll be able to see there is a priority order you can able to. So this number generally, if you're taking NSG case, this number is generally starting from 100 to 4096. So in case if you have any rule, if you're seeing here, by default, this number is been starting from 100 to 4096. So the number with a low value having a highest priority, and the highest having a lowest priority. That's the order generally it's been created. So this number, like if in case if you are creating inbound rule, you need to give a priority code. Similar like in how group policy you are given, right? Similar way, you need to give a priority order also. So this number can starting from 100. So this 100 is having highest priority, and the 4096 having a lowest priority. So it's been validating with the help of what is the priority code you have defined here. So if there is any packet, it will come first. It will validate is there any 100 rule is been configured. If this is matching, that rule will apply, and then it will go to 101, 102, 103, 104, like this. It will go, and whenever there is a matching rule, from there it will validation. It will stop, and that will be applied that policy. So this is the way it's been working. So right now the problem right now we are facing here, we have configured a website here, but unfortunately this server or the server which you are configured here is not having any HTTP connection is been allowed in the HTTP route, right? There is no inbound rule is been configured. So we need to define that route. So you can just go to, because if you want to access this web server from a outside or internet, by default, it will be blocking. So we need to configure inbound rule. How this is being configuring? We are configuring a NHC rule. What is the port number we are using? We are going to use a port number 80. Otherwise, it will be get blocked. So let me go back, and I'm configuring a inbound route, and connection from any source, and custom I'm just giving like it's HTTP port number it's been, or HTTP is the rule I given. Now I just given a destination port, it's 80, saying that allow connection. This is for my HR website, this rule for HR website. Or you can able to give in the, so here you can able to see rule details you can able to give. There's a priority number you can give. Here you can able to keep HR website or whatever you want. I'm just giving it's for HR website. So we'll be able to identify to whom we are assigned this role, and we are given a priority also. So right now we are adding an inbound rule. So right now you can able to see there is a rule it's been configured. It's called 310, and there's a HR website it's been configured. Been able to see it's been like it's been the website has been configured. Now rule is been applied here. Let's go back to the our finance VM. So first of all, let me the computer we currently we are using. I think we configured role on a different server, so we need to. I think this VM name has been local server. I think there's a server one by default. We by mistake we configured it on in another VM. Sorry, so by mistake I configured this role in a finance one. So I need to. So let's go back to this server one by mistake with the role currently we have configured. It's been configured on the different VM. So let me change it here. So let's go back here and just give a priority code. So right now inbound role has been configured. Now this is the IP address currently we have. Okay. Now let's copy this one and go back here and enter. Right now you can able to see the website has been working. What is the reason behind this one? Because previously it was blocking. It's previously it was blocking from NSG level, right? Because the previously if you're seeing here in the server level, this rule was not here. That's the reason it was blocking. Now right now if you're entering here, you can able to see this has been blocked. This has been allowed. That's the reason we are getting. Now in case if I'm deleting this route, for example, like if I delete this route and if I'm again if you're trying, you will not be able to access. So I'm just entering here. Now this may be taking from a cache for us. Right now it's been deleting. This rule has been deleting. Now if you go back and it's been connected from another this one. Right now it's maybe pulling from a this detail from a cache. So this right now it's been taken from a cache. After some time you will not be able to access because the rule itself it's been deleted. So you need to allow this rule in case if you want to access or it's from outside. NSG rule it's been need to be allowed here. So right now you need to understand in case if you want to configure any kind of a rule, this is needs to be configured in the NSG level. So that's the topic currently. The next one we are going to discuss like a VNet peering, and we'll see like how NSG rule can be configured uh, on the Microsoft network. So we are pausing for a day 2 here, and day 3 will be starting with the VNet peering and the VPN concept, and day first portion will be the NSG creation. Now another couple of minutes can be used for the FAQ. So like in case if you have any kind of a questions or any topic to be discussed, or it's like you have any operational related questions if you have,